The stars looked wrong tonight. Admiral Jack Taylor stood at the viewport of Earth Defense Station Alpha, his weathered face reflecting in the reinforced glass. Normally, the darkness of space was a comfort to him after 30 years in the fleet. Not anymore. Not since the ships arrived. They came without warning 7 days ago. First one, then 10, then hundreds alien vessels that dwarfed humanity's largest ships. They formed a perfect sphere around Earth's solar system, just beyond Neptune's orbit. The Alliance of Seven, they called themselves. 7 advanced species who ruled this arm of the galaxy with technologies humans could barely understand. "Admiral, incoming transmission from the Alliance flagship," said Lieutenant Mark Davis, his voice tight with stress. Taylor nodded. "Put it through." The main screen flickered to life, showing a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 arms and eyes that seemed to glow from within. Jack had seen this alien before, the one who called itself Speaker. "Human Admiral," the speaker said, its voice oddly musical despite the grave message. "Your time grows short. We have disabled 60% of your orbital defenses without firing a single shot that would harm your people. This is our mercy. You have 48 hours remaining to surrender your world. After that, we begin the cleansing." The screen went dark before Taylor could respond. Not that he had much to say. What could he say? Earth's most advanced weapons couldn't even scratch the Alliance ships. "Send word to the Global Defense Council," Taylor said quietly. "Tell them we need to talk." 6 hours later, Taylor sat at a long table with 23 of the most powerful people on Earth. Presidents, prime ministers, generals, all looking equally lost. "We can't just give up," said General Wilson, slamming his fist on the table. "Humanity doesn't surrender." President Rivera shook her head. "And what would you have us do, General? Our best missiles can't reach them. Our beam weapons can't penetrate their shields. Half our defense satellites have been turned off like light switches. We have nuclear options," someone suggested from the far end of the table. Taylor laughed without humor. "They'd been watching us for who knows how long. You think they haven't prepared for that? Yesterday they stopped a test missile by turning its atomic material into something else, something harmless. They did it in seconds." The room fell silent. Through the windows, Taylor could see the sunset painting the sky red. How many more sunsets did Earth have? His phone buzzed. Most communications were spotty since the Alliance had started interfering with Earth's networks, but the military channels still worked. Taylor frowned at the message. "Excuse me," he said, rising from his chair. "There's something I need to check." In the hallway outside, Taylor called the number that had messaged him. "This is Admiral Taylor." "Sir, this is Dr. Emma Reed from Mars Research Station Omega. I need to speak with you about Project Prometheus." Taylor's throat went dry. Prometheus was shut down 3 years ago. Too dangerous, the scientist said. "Yes, sir, I was one of those scientists." Reed's voice was steady despite the static on the line. "I was wrong. We were all wrong. Prometheus isn't just a weapon, it's more. And right now, it might be the only thing that can save us." Taylor looked back at the conference room, where Earth's leaders were still arguing about surrender terms. "Tell me," he said. "Not over comms, sir. The Alliance might be listening. I need you to come to Mars. Right now. Doctor, in case you haven't noticed, we're about to be invaded. I can't just—" "Sir," Reed cut in, "what I'm about to tell you doesn't leave this call. 3 days ago, when the Alliance first appeared, Prometheus activated itself. We didn't do it. It just woke up, and it's been changing ever since." Taylor felt the hair on his arms stand up. "Changing how?" "It's growing. Learning. The equations I'm seeing shouldn't be possible. I think." She hesitated. "I think it's responding to them. To the threat. To our fear." Before Taylor could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the building. He ran back to the conference room to find everyone staring at the emergency broadcast on the wall screen. Alliance ships were moving, breaking their perfect formation for the first time in 7 days. "They're coming into the solar system," General Wilson said, his face pale. "They're not waiting the 48 hours. Taylor made his decision. I need a ship to Mars. Now." President Rivera looked at him in confusion. "Mars? Jack, we need every ship for evacuation efforts. Trust me, Madam President. There's something on Mars that might save us all." He didn't mention that this something had apparently woken up on its own, that it was changing, growing in ways its creators didn't understand. As Taylor rushed to the landing pad where a shuttle was being prepared, he couldn't shake the feeling that humanity's last hope might also be its greatest threat. But against the Alliance, what choice did they have? The stars definitely looked wrong tonight, but maybe, just maybe, they would look even worse to the Alliance very soon. The trip to Mars took 12 hours. It should have taken 3 days, but the emergency shuttle pushed its engines beyond safe limits. Admiral Taylor spent most of the journey staring at the data Dr. Reed had sent him. Project Prometheus, the weapon that was never supposed to be used. Taylor remembered the arguments from 3 years ago. The science team claimed they had found a way to manipulate quantum fields, to bend the rules of physics itself. But the tests had gone wrong. Very wrong. The small prototype had created effects no one could explain. Strange readings, equipment failures, and then there were the dreams. Everyone within a mile of the facility reported the same nightmares for weeks afterward. The project was officially shut down, or so he had thought. The shuttle shook violently as it entered Mars' thin atmosphere. Through the viewport, Taylor could see Alliance ships in the distance. They hadn't attacked the Mars colony yet, but it was only a matter of time. "Final approach to Research Station Omega," a pilot announced. "Hold tight, sir. It's going to be rough." The landing was indeed rough, but Taylor hardly noticed. His mind was on what waited below the red surface of Mars, in a facility that officially didn't exist. Dr. Emma Reed met him at the airlock. She was younger than he expected, maybe 40, with short gray hair and eyes that looked like they hadn't slept in days. "Thank you for coming, Admiral," she said, leading him through metal corridors that spiraled down into the Martian rock. "We don't have much time." "The Alliance has entered the inner solar system," Taylor said. "Earth has maybe 24 hours before they're in bombardment range." Reed nodded grimly. "Then we have to move faster than planned. This way." She led him through a heavy security door and into a control room filled with screens and nervous-looking scientists. On the central monitor was a view of a sealed chamber containing what looked like a small metal pyramid, maybe 3 feet tall. It was floating a few inches above its pedestal, spinning slowly. "That's Prometheus?" Taylor asked. "Part of it," Reed answered. "What you're seeing is just the physical interface, the actual system." She hesitated. "It's complicated." "Uncomplicated, Doctor. What are we dealing with?" Reed sighed. 3 years ago, we were trying to create a weapon that could disrupt quantum fields, essentially create localized changes in the laws of physics, a space where enemy technology would simply stop working. But we discovered something else instead. Something alive. Taylor stared at her. Alive. "Not in the way we understand life," Reed explained. "But yes, we found a type of energy that responds to consciousness. Human consciousness, specifically. At first, it was just small reactions. The system would mirror the emotional states of the researchers near it. But now," she tapped a command into a nearby console, and the screen changed to show energy readings. Taylor didn't understand the details, but he could see the pattern. Massive spikes that seemed to be growing larger. "When the Alliance arrived," Reed continued, "the system activated itself. It's been growing stronger every day, feeding on our fear, our determination, our will to survive. I think it's been waiting for this moment." "Waiting? Doctor, you're talking about this thing like it has a mind of its own." Reed looked him straight in the eyes. "I think it might, Admiral, or it's developing one. And if I'm right, it might be our only chance." A young scientist rushed over, his face pale. Dr. Reed, we have movement. The Alliance fleet has changed course. They're heading toward Mars. They know, Taylor said quietly. Somehow, they know about Prometheus. Reed nodded, which means we were right. They fear it. She turned to her team. Prepare for immediate transfer to orbital platform. We're moving Prometheus to Earth. Can we even move it safely? Taylor asked. No, Reed admitted, but we're out of options. The next 6 hours were a blur of activity. While the research team prepared Prometheus for transport, Taylor coordinated with Earth's remaining defense forces. A small window of opportunity had opened. The Alliance ships were concentrating on Mars, pulling away from Earth briefly. If they timed it right, they might get Prometheus through. As they loaded the device onto a heavily modified transport ship, Taylor noticed something strange. The floating pyramid was pulsing with a soft blue light that seemed to beat in rhythm with his own heart. It's responding to you, Reed said, noticing his stare. To all of us. The stronger our emotions, the stronger it gets. And what happens when it gets strong enough? Taylor asked. Reed shook her head. I don't know. But soon after the Alliance arrived, I started having dreams. Dreams of a storm that could swallow stars. Dreams of something vast and powerful, waiting just beyond a door we built without realizing what it was. The ship was ready. As Taylor and Reed strapped into their seats for launch, alarms blared throughout the facility. Alliance ships were entering Mars orbit. If we die here, Taylor said quietly, Earth falls. Reed looked at the glowing pyramid, secured in the center of the cargo bay. It was spinning faster now, the blue light brightening. We won't die here, she said with strange certainty. It won't let us. As if in response to her words, the pyramid's glow intensified. The ship's engines roared to life, and they blasted away from the surface of Mars, heading toward Earth and toward whatever fate Prometheus had in store for humanity. They should have died 100 times during the flight from Mars to Earth. Alliance ships fired on them from all directions. Energy beams sliced through space, missing them by impossibly narrow margins. But somehow, their small transport stayed intact, protected by nothing more than standard shields that should have failed against such weapons. This isn't possible, the pilot muttered as he dodged yet another attack. They can't be missing this many shots. It's like something is moving us just enough each time. In the cargo hold, Admiral Taylor watched the pyramid. It no longer spun slowly. Now it rotated so fast it was nearly a blur, its blue glow filling the entire ship with pulsing light. Next to him, Dr. Reed monitored readings on a portable device, her face a mixture of fear and wonder. It's protecting us, she whispered. Somehow, it's influencing probability itself. Will it get us all the way to Earth? Taylor asked. Reed shook her head. I don't know, but there's something else happening. Look at these energy patterns. She showed him the screen. Even with his limited scientific knowledge, Taylor could see that something was building. Energy levels climbing steadily higher with each attack they survived. It's feeding on the danger, Reed explained. On our fear, our hope, our determination to survive. It's building toward something. What? Before she could answer, the ship shuddered violently. A direct hit, finally. The lights flickered, and emergency sirens blared. Admiral. The pilot's voice came over the intercom. Earth Defense Platform Alpha is hailing us. We're approaching Earth orbit, but the Alliance fleet is right behind us. The platform has activated its defenses, but they won't hold for long. Taylor looked at Reed. We need to dock now. The next 20 minutes were chaos. The transport barely survived its approach to the platform, a massive orbital station that was humanity's last major defense position. As they docked, Alliance ships surrounded Earth, their weapons powering up for what would surely be the final attack. Taylor and Reed supervised as the pyramid was quickly moved to the platform's central weapons chamber, a large, circular room designed to house Earth's most powerful defensive systems. The pyramid was still spinning, its glow now so bright that people could barely look at it. "What now?" General Wilson asked as he met them in the chamber. He had been in charge of the platform since the crisis began. Reed approached a control panel. "We integrated with the platform's main systems. The plan was to use the platform's power supply to amplify Prometheus, to create a field that would disable the Alliance ships. And you think it will work?" Wilson asked. Reed looked at the pyramid, now hovering in the center of the chamber. "Honestly, I don't know what will happen anymore. This is beyond my understanding now." They worked quickly, connecting the pyramid to the platform's power grid. As the final connections were made, the pyramid's spin suddenly stopped. The blue glow dimmed for a moment, then flared brighter than ever. "Energy levels are off the charts," a technician called out. "The system is drawing power faster than we can supply it." "Is that bad?" Taylor asked. Reed didn't answer. She was staring at the pyramid, her expression unreadable. Alarms sounded throughout the platform. On the main screen, they could see Alliance ships moving into firing position around Earth. "This is it," General Wilson said grimly. "Whatever your weapon does, Doctor, it better do it now." Reed took a deep breath and pressed a series of commands into the control panel. "Activating Prometheus," she said. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the pyramid began to change. Its metal surface seemed to melt, flowing like liquid. The blue glow intensified until everyone had to shield their eyes. The air in the chamber felt charged, electric. "What's happening?" Taylor shouted over the rising hum of energy. Reed didn't answer. She was watching the pyramid with wide eyes as it continued to transform. The metal was completely gone now, replaced by what looked like a swirling vortex of blue-white energy. And then it happened. The vortex exploded outward, but instead of destroying the chamber, it created what looked like a tear in the air itself. A rift that pulsed with impossible colors and energies. From this rift emerged something. Taylor couldn't properly see it, couldn't properly understand what he was looking at. It was like trying to look at a storm made of light and darkness both, a swirling, living mass of energy that filled the chamber, but somehow didn't harm any of the humans present. "My God," Wilson whispered. "What is that?" The entity, there was no other word for it, seemed to hover in the center of the room for a moment. Then, without warning, it expanded, passing through the walls of the platform as if they weren't there. On the main screen, they could see it emerge into space, a colossal storm of energy that continued to grow until it surrounded the entire platform. Alliance ships immediately opened fire, but their weapons seemed to be absorbed by the entity, making it grow even larger. "It's conscious," Reed said quietly, staring at her readings. "The energy patterns, they're organized, purposeful. This isn't just a weapon or a field effect. It's alive." As if hearing her words, the entity pulsed once, sending a wave of blue energy outward in all directions. When it touched the Alliance ships, they simply stopped. Engines died, weapons powered down. They drifted in space, completely disabled. And then, strangest of all, Taylor felt something touch his mind. A presence, vast and alien yet somehow familiar too. He looked at Reed and could tell from her expression that she felt it too. "It's talking to us," she whispered. The presence in their minds had no words, only impressions, emotions, and images. But its message was clear. It had awakened. It had found its purpose. And humanity was no longer alone. 3 days passed since the entity emerged. The world named it Nexus, the connection between humanity and something greater. For those 3 days, the Alliance ships remained frozen in space, their crews alive but unable to restart their systems. Earth celebrated, but Admiral Taylor and Dr. Reed knew this was just the beginning. They stood in a new control center built around where the pyramid had been. The space was now filled with swirling energy, a small portion of Nexus that remained connected to the station, while the rest of it surrounded Earth like a shield of living light. "It's establishing stronger connections," Reed said, looking at her data tablet. Around the world, thousands of people reported strange dreams, flashes of insight, and moments of connection with something vast. The dreams were not frightening like before. They were filled with images of stars, of distant worlds, and of strange beings who looked upon Earth with fear. "Can we communicate with it properly?" Taylor asked. The brief mental contact they had experienced when Nexus first emerged had faded, leaving only vague impressions. "I think it's learning how," Reed replied. "It understands emotions better than words. But it's trying." As if responding to her statement, the energy in the room pulsed, and both Taylor and Reed felt a presence in their minds again. Stronger this time, more focused. Images flowed into their consciousness. Alliance ships, their technology, their weapons. Then came other images. Planets being destroyed, species being eliminated, all by Alliance hands. "It's showing us why they came here," Taylor said quietly. "They've done this before." More images came. Early human experiments with quantum physics, the first tests of Project Prometheus, and then, surprisingly, human art, music, literature. The emotions attached to these images were clear: curiosity, interest, wonder. "They detected our experiments," Reed whispered. "They saw we were close to discovering what Prometheus could do. What Nexus is." The final image was the clearest. Humans with a strange glow around their heads, connected to something larger, something that the Alliance feared above all else. When the vision ended, Reed stumbled back, catching herself against a console. "Did you understand what it was showing us?" Taylor nodded slowly. "The Alliance destroys any species that might develop what we did. Any species that might connect with whatever Nexus is." "But why? What is Nexus exactly?" Reed wondered. The answer came not from the energy in the room, but from one of Reed's assistants who had been monitoring communications from the disabled Alliance ships. "Dr. Admiral, we've decoded some of their transmissions. They're calling for help from the rest of their forces. They keep referring to something called the Awakened. I think they're talking about Nexus." Before they could discuss this further, alarms sounded. On the main screen, they saw movement among the Alliance ships. Not all of them, just one. The largest vessel, the one they had identified as the command ship. "It's powering up," a technician called out. "Somehow it's breaking through Nexus's field." Taylor turned to Reed. "I thought nothing could get through." "Nothing should be able to," she replied, frantically checking readings. Unless they have technology specifically designed to counter it." The Alliance command ship was fully active now, its engines glowing as it positioned itself. But it didn't attack. Instead, it broadcast a message, not just to the platform, but to every receiver on Earth. The same blue-skinned being that Taylor had seen before, the speaker, appeared on screen. It looked different now. Afraid. "Humans," it said, its musical voice now trembling slightly. "You do not understand what you have done, what you have awakened. It is not your protector. It is the end of all ordered existence." Taylor looked at Reed, who shook her head slightly. She didn't believe this. "The entity you have connected with," the speaker continued, "is one of many that exist beyond normal space and time. Long ago, they nearly destroyed this galaxy in their chaos. The Alliance was formed to prevent their return. We have eliminated 17 species who came close to creating a bridge as you have done." The speaker's 4 arms moved in what seemed to be a ritual gesture. "We offer you one chance. Help us close the bridge. Return to isolation, or we will be forced to take more drastic measures. Measures that will harm your world, but are necessary to protect all life in this galaxy." The transmission ended. Silence filled the control room. "Could it be telling the truth?" Taylor asked quietly. Reed looked at the swirling energy. "I don't think so. Everything I felt from Nexus has been protective, curious, almost childlike, not destructive." As if in response, Nexus pulsed again, and this time the mental contact was stronger than ever. But now, instead of just images and emotions, there were words, halting, strange, but understandable. They fear what you might be Silomem, what we might be Silomem, together. What are we becoming? Reed asked aloud. More than separate, more than alone. Humans unique can bridge worlds, can connect where others cannot. The meaning became clear to Taylor. The Alliance doesn't fear Nexus. They fear us, humans, because we can connect with Nexus in a way they cannot. Yes, they control, through isolation, through fear, through destruction. But you CREAT, you CONACT, you EVOV. Reed looked at Taylor, her eyes wide with understanding. This isn't just about survival anymore. This is about what humanity might become. Outside, the Alliance command ship was charging its weapons. They had made their choice. Now humanity had to make its own. The Alliance command ship fired at Earth. The beam of energy was unlike anything humans had ever seen. A strange purple light that seemed to bend space itself around it. But just before it reached the atmosphere, Nexus moved. The shield of blue energy flowed like water, absorbing the attack. Asterisk they use. Old weapons. Against my kind. Asterisk Nexus communicated directly to Taylor and Reed. Asterisk key ANNOT harm me. But Davorines ME asterisk. Reed looked at her readings. The energy output from Nexus had dropped by almost 10% from that single attack. They know how to fight it, she said to Taylor. If they have enough ships with weapons like that. Taylor understood immediately. He turned to the communications officer. Get me a direct line to that command ship. While they worked to establish contact, Nexus shared more with Reed. The mental connection was growing stronger, clearer. She saw images of vast beings of pure energy, existing in a space between normal reality and somewhere else, a dimension of pure thought and emotion. She saw how these beings had once tried to communicate with physical life forms, but most could not withstand the connection. Their minds broke. Only a few species had ever shown the potential to bridge the gap. And the Alliance destroyed them all, Reed whispered, before they could do what we did. Asterisk yes. Fear, always FER, of CHANG, of evolution, of the might be asterisk. Admiral, the communications officer called. Connection established. The speaker's face appeared on the main screen again. This time, Taylor noticed something he hadn't before, markings on the alien's blue skin that looked almost like circuitry. Human Admiral, the speaker said, have you considered our offer? Taylor looked directly at the alien. We have, and we have some questions. The weapon you used, it's specifically designed to combat entities like Nexus, isn't it? The speaker seemed surprised at the direct question. Yes, we have guarded against the Awakened for thousands of years. Why? What threat do they actually pose? The speaker's eyes narrowed. They change everything they touch. They exist partly outside normal space-time. Their presence destabilizes reality itself. And when bonded with a physical species, as you are beginning to bond, the results are unpredictable and dangerous. To whom? Taylor pressed. Dangerous to whom? To us, or to your control over this part of the galaxy. The speaker's 4 arms moved in agitation. You know nothing of the cosmos, human. We have maintained order for millennia. We have prevented chaos. Reed stepped forward. By destroying any species that might grow beyond your understanding. Any species that might connect with beings like Nexus and evolve past your level of development. For a moment, the speaker was silent. Then, it spoke in a colder voice. You have made your choice then. Know that we take no pleasure in what comes next. The Alliance fleet is already on its way. Hundreds of ships, all armed with weapons that can drain and eventually destroy your Nexus. Your world will then be cleansed. A regrettable but necessary action. The screen went dark. Taylor looked at Reed. How long do we have? She checked the long-range sensors, based on their usual travel capabilities, maybe 3 days before the main fleet arrives. Taylor nodded grimly. Then we have 3 days to prepare. The next hours were a blur of activity, while the command ship continued to fire occasional bursts at Earth, each absorbed by Nexus, but clearly weakening it. Taylor mobilized Earth's remaining military forces. Not that conventional weapons would do much against the Alliance, but they had to try. Reed, meanwhile, worked on strengthening the connection with Nexus. She gathered volunteers from among the scientists and military personnel on the platform, people willing to attempt deeper mental contact with the entity. The more minds connected to it, the stronger it seems to get, she explained to Taylor as they set up the experiment. It feeds on consciousness, on emotion, on will. And you think this will help it fight the Alliance fleet? Taylor asked. Reed shook her head. I don't know, but it's our best chance. 20 volunteers sat in a circle in what had been the weapons chamber, the swirling energy of Nexus at its center. Reed guided them through techniques to open their minds, to reach out to the entity that had saved them once already. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, one by one, the volunteers gasped or cried out as contact was made. The energy in the room pulsed and brightened with each new connection. Reed felt it too, stronger than before. But this time, Nexus wasn't just communicating. It was sharing. Knowledge, understanding, awareness of a universe far vaster and stranger than humans had ever imagined. And with that knowledge came a realization. Reed rushed back to the control center where Taylor was coordinating defense preparations. Admiral, I know what we need to do, she said, her eyes bright with excitement and fear. Nexus has shown me. We need to connect it not just to a few volunteers, but to as many humans as possible. How? Taylor asked. We can't bring everyone to this platform. Reed pointed to Earth's global communication network. We don't have to. We can use that. Nexus can extend its consciousness through our technology, reach out to people through their devices, if enough of them accept the connection. What happens then? Taylor asked, sensing there was more. Reed took a deep breath. Then we stop being just humans, and Nexus stops being just whatever it is. We become something new, something the Alliance truly fears. In the space above Earth, the Alliance command ship fired again. Nexus absorbed the attack, but this time, the blue shield flickered visibly. Their time was running out. They needed to act now. They had less than 48 hours before the Alliance fleet arrived. The command ship continued its attacks, and each time Nexus absorbed the energy, it grew weaker. The blue shield surrounding Earth was starting to thin in places. We need to move quickly, Reed told the emergency meeting of world leaders, speaking from the platform via video link. Nexus can connect with human minds through our global communications network. When it does, it will grow stronger, strong enough, we hope, to withstand the Alliance fleet. And what exactly happens to the people who connect with it? President Rivera asked, her face serious on the screen. Reed hesitated. They'll experience a temporary mental link with Nexus, and through it, with each other. Based on our tests with volunteers, the experience is intense but not harmful. You're asking the entire planet to mentally connect with an alien entity we barely understand, General Wilson said. The security implications alone. We don't have a choice, Taylor cut in. If the Alliance fleet arrives at full strength, they'll destroy Nexus and then Earth. We've seen what they've done to other worlds. President Rivera looked thoughtful. And you believe this is our only option? Yes, Reed said firmly. Nexus has shown us what happened to other species who reached this point. None of them had time to form a full connection before the Alliance destroyed them. We're the first to have this chance. After hours of debate, the world leaders agreed. The plan was set in motion. Earth's broadcasting systems, internet, and telecommunications networks were all modified to carry Nexus's signal, a subtle pattern of energy that could establish a connection with any human mind that accepted it. The message was simple. At noon Greenwich Mean Time, everyone on Earth who wished to help defend humanity would need to be near a connected device, a phone, computer, television, anything that could receive the signal. They would feel a presence reaching out to them, and they would need to mentally accept it. As the appointed time approached, Reed and Taylor stood in the control center, watching screens that showed people around the world gathering. Families huddled around televisions. Office workers sat at their computers. Children held their parents' hands as they watched phones and tablets. "Do you think it will work?" Taylor asked quietly. Reed looked at the swirling energy that filled half the room now. Nexus, preparing itself. It has to. At exactly noon GMT, Nexus pulsed. The blue energy flowed into the station's communication systems and out through every connected network on Earth. On the screens, they could see people reacting. Some gasping, some smiling, some crying as the connection was made. Reed felt it too, a vast expansion of awareness. Suddenly, she could sense millions of minds, all linked together through Nexus. Emotions flowed like rivers. Fear, hope, determination, wonder. And with each new mind that joined, Nexus grew stronger. The blue shield around Earth brightened, thickened. Asterisk we grow. Together. Be human more. Asterisk Nexus communicated, its thoughts now crystal clear in Reed's mind. Asterisk ones who destroyed. Approach. But now BUEREADY asterisk. The Alliance command ship detected the change. It fired again, a sustained beam of that strange purple energy. But this time, when Nexus absorbed it, the shield didn't weaken. Instead, it pulsed with new patterns of light, adapting, learning. "It's working," Reed said, amazed. Nexus is evolving, becoming more complex with each human mind that joins. On Earth, more and more people were connecting. Not everyone. Some refused out of fear or suspicion, but billions accepted the link. And through that vast network of human consciousness, Nexus found something it hadn't expected: creativity, imagination, the human ability to envision what had never existed and then bring it into being. Through the link, humans shared their knowledge with Nexus: art, music, literature, science, philosophy, and Nexus shared its knowledge with them. The true nature of space-time, the existence of dimensions beyond the physical, the potential for consciousness to shape reality itself. "Energy levels are off the charts," a technician called out. "The shield is now extending beyond Earth orbit. It's changing." Taylor watched in awe as the blue energy surrounding Earth began to form intricate patterns, complex geometric shapes that seemed to fold in on themselves in ways that shouldn't be possible in three-dimensional space. Asterisk, we understand now. What we can be see woman. What you have shown us asterisk Nexus communicated to everyone in the link. Asterisk Alliance feared this, because they can never do it, cannot imagine. Cannot CREAT as you did your asterisk. The long-range sensors blared an alert. The Alliance fleet had arrived early, hundreds of ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system, all armed with the weapons designed to fight beings like Nexus. "They're charging weapons," someone reported, voice tight with fear. But Reed wasn't afraid anymore. Through the link, she could feel what was happening. Nexus wasn't just defending Earth now. It was reaching out, extending its awareness toward the approaching fleet. In space, the blue shield expanded outward in a wave, moving faster than should have been possible. When it reached the Alliance fleet, their weapons fired, hundreds of purple beams striking the advancing blue energy. For a moment, it seemed like the attacks might stop Nexus. The blue wave faltered, dimmed. But then something new happened. All across Earth, the billions of connected humans focused their will, their determination, their creative energy through the link. They didn't just want to survive. They wanted to thrive, to explore, to grow beyond what they had been. And Nexus responded. The blue wave surged forward again, stronger than before, enveloping the Alliance fleet. But it didn't destroy them. Instead, it simply held them, frozen in space and time, unable to advance or retreat. We HFY are choice, not destruction, Nexus communicated, and somehow its message reached the Alliance ships as well. Ninyi WPA together, or CPARHEON, but no more death. The ultimatum had been delivered. Now, humanity and Nexus waited for the Alliance's response. 3 days passed with the Alliance fleet held in Nexus's grip. The ships remained frozen in space, unable to advance or retreat. On Earth, billions of humans maintained their connection with Nexus, their collective consciousness strengthening the entity with each passing hour. Finally, a signal came from the Alliance command ship. The speaker requested to meet with human representatives. They're stalling, General Wilson warned as Taylor and Reed prepared to board a small shuttle, waiting for reinforcements. Reed shook her head. There's nowhere in this galaxy they can hide from Nexus now. It can sense the movements of their other fleets. They know they're trapped. The shuttle journey to the command ship was brief. Nexus's energy parted to let them through, then sealed behind them. As they docked with a massive alien vessel, Reed felt Nexus's presence in her mind, watchful and protective. The speaker met them in a large circular chamber filled with strange technology. The blue-skinned alien looked diminished somehow, its posture less commanding than before. You have achieved what no species has before, the speaker said without preamble. Full integration with an awakened one. The Alliance Council demands to know your intentions. Taylor stepped forward. Our intentions were never conquest or destruction. We only wanted to survive. And now, with the power you wield, you could destroy our civilization with a thought. But we won't, Reed said. That's the difference between us. You destroy what you fear. We seek to understand it. Through their mental link, Nexus shared images with Reed and Taylor. The true history of the Alliance. They had once been like humans, curious and creative. But then their leaders discovered the existence of the awakened ones and feared what would happen if their people connected with these entities. They built technology to block such connections and destroyed any species that came close to making contact. Your civilization is built on fear, Taylor said. Fear of change, fear of evolution, fear of what might be possible if you allowed your people the freedom to grow. The speaker's eyes narrowed. You know nothing of our history. We know everything, Reed replied quietly. Nexus has shown us. We know about the uprising on your homeworld 3,000 years ago, when some of your people tried to make contact with the awakened ones. How your leaders killed millions to prevent it. The speaker stepped back, clearly shocked. Impossible. Those records were destroyed. Nothing is ever truly gone, Reed said. The awakened remember. For the first time, the speaker seemed uncertain. What do you want from us? Taylor looked at Reed, and through their connection with Nexus, they shared a single thought. Then Taylor turned back to the speaker. We want peace. We want mutual respect. We want the freedom for all species in this galaxy to choose their own path, to connect with the awakened if they wish, or to remain separate if that is their choice. Impossible, the speaker said. The risk is too great. The only risk, Reed said, is to your control. You've seen what Nexus has done. Has it destroyed anything? Has it harmed anyone who didn't attack first? The awakened don't want destruction. They want connection, understanding, growth. As if responding to her words, Nexus's presence expanded in the room. The blue energy seeped through the walls, gentle but impossible to ignore. The speaker watched it with evident fear. You ask for the end of everything we have built, the speaker said. No, Taylor replied. We ask for a new beginning. One where the Alliance returns to its original purpose, Cooperation between worlds, not domination. You can be part of this new era, or you can stand against it. But you cannot stop it. Through Nexus, Reed and Taylor could sense the chaos aboard the other Alliance ships. The crews communicating frantically, some in fear, but others were curious. Questions were being asked that had been forbidden for millennia. Your control is already slipping, Reed told the speaker gently. Your people are beginning to wonder why they've been taught to fear the awakened. Some are even reaching out, trying to make contact on their own. The speaker's 4 arms moved in complex patterns, gestures of distress. You doom us all. No, Taylor said. We free you. Back on Earth, the connection between humanity and Nexus reached its peak. Billions of minds joined in a singular purpose, not destruction, but transformation. Through the link, Nexus gathered the creative energy of human consciousness and channeled it into something new. In space, the blue energy surrounding Earth pulsed once, then expanded outward in a wave that touched every corner of the solar system. But this wasn't a weapon. It was a change in the fabric of reality itself, a permanent dimensional anchor that would forever link Earth's space-time with the realm of the awakened. When the wave settled, the Alliance ships were released from their stasis. But the solar system was now different, protected by a field that existed partly in normal space and partly elsewhere. No weapon could penetrate it. No technology could undo it. What have you done? The speaker asked, seeing the readings on the ship's instruments. We've created a sanctuary, Reed explained. Earth's first, but not the last. Any world where beings wish to connect with the awakened will have our protection. And what of worlds that do not wish this connection? The speaker asked. They have their choice, Taylor said. That's what this was always about. Choice, not control. The speaker was silent for a long moment. Then, surprising them both, it made a new gesture, one that Reed somehow knew meant acceptance. The Alliance will adapt, the speaker said. We must. But some will resist this change. They always do, Reed said with a smile. But change comes anyway. As they returned to Earth, Reed and Taylor felt Nexus's joy spreading through the link, touching every connected human. They had done what no species had managed before. They had changed the rules of a game that had been played for millennia. The cosmos knew fear, yes, but now it also knew hope.